Hi everyone, so today's lesson is a low stakes quiz. If you haven't already had a go at it yourself, you need to have a go at it yourself and then come back and you can mark your work using this video. Okay, so if you haven't tried it, go back and then you can come back here. Okay. Right, so the first question, expanding double brackets. So that means we need to times everything in one bracket by the other. So I use arrows to help me remember to do everything. So x times x squared, x times minus 7, minus 7x. Then we're going to take 5 times x plus 5x. I'm going to do 5 times minus 7, minus 35. Okay, so we're not asked to simplify here, but always do. Always simplify. Okay, so we can add our two middle terms. So we get x squared. We've got a minus 7x plus 5x is a minus 2x minus 35. Good. Okay, question number 2. It's the opposite. So we want to factorize. That means put a quadratic expression back into brackets. Okay. So to do that, we need double brackets. And we need to think of our factor pairs of 14. Okay. So factor pairs of 14. We could have 1 times 14. We could have 2 times 7. And then we figure out which one of those two factor pairs will add together to give me a 9. It's going to be 2 and 7. X add 2. X add 7. Okay, right, question number 3. We want to draw a tree diagram for a fair coin that is flipped twice. Okay, so when we flip a coin, we've got two options. We've got heads or tails. Okay, so it's a fair coin, so that means it's 50-50. So that means 50% of the time it's going to land on heads, 50% on tails, the probability that is. Okay, so we've got heads or tails for the first flip. Then we've got heads or tails for the second flip. Second. Okay, so let's do our probabilities. So it's 1/2. I'm going to use fractions. You could use decimals if you want, it doesn't really matter. 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, and 1/2. So let's work out the probability of each of them. So the probability of a head is 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. Probability of head tail, it's going to be the exact same. 1/2 times 1/2, quarter. Probability of a tail followed by a head, 1/4 again. And probability of tail is 1/4. Okay, so question number 4. We want to find the value for x. So we've got a right angle triangle. In your question, it should have given you that, but I hope you assumed it was a right angle triangle. So to do this, we're going to use Pythagoras. Okay, so we're told we're looking for the longest side, the hypotenuse. So we use the formula c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So the hypotenuse is always your c, and then your a and b in this case don't matter. Okay, so we've got x squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. X squared is equal to 36 plus 16. X squared is equal to 52. And to find what x is, we take the square root of 52 and we'll go to one decimal place. So x is equal to 7.2 to 1 dp, one decimal place. Okay. Right, next we've got a speed distance time question. So you need to remember the formula. So remember your triangle, speed is equal to distance divided by time. So we are looking for distance. How far has it traveled? We're looking for distance. So d is equal to the speed times by time. Okay, so the only thing that we need to be careful is we've got 30 minutes and we've got miles per hour. Okay, so we need consistency with our units. So we're going to change 30 minutes is equal to 0.5 hours. Okay, right, so we've got distance is equal to speed, which is 50, times by 0.5, half of 50. So the distance is 25 units miles. Good. Okay, so the next one, we've got right angle trigonometry. Okay, so again, I hope you presumed that that was a right angle triangle. That's your angle. So we're looking for the angle x. Okay, so first thing that we need to do here, as always, we label our sides. Okay, so the hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. And then we've got the opposite angle, which is opposite whichever angle we're interested in. So it's going to be that 6 there, that's my opposite, and the other is the adjacent. Okay, so we're given the opposite and the adjacent, the O and the A. So that should tell you that it's going to be TOA, TOA, TOA. Okay, so tan of the angle, tan of x, is equal to the opposite divided by the adjacent. So the opposite divided by the adjacent. So tan of x equals 3 over 2. So remember, if we're finding x, we need to do the inverse of tanning something. So x is equal to the inverse tan minus 1 of 3 over 2. And into your calculator. So inverse tan 3 over 2. And we'll go to one decimal place. It is 56.3 degrees. Okay. Okay, so next one, we've got a quadratic again, but it's a little bit different from the other one. So it's not a double bracket one, it's a single bracket quadratic. Okay, so we want to find the highest common factor of 6x squared and 18x. So the first thing we're going to do is find the highest common factor of 6 and 18, which is going to be 6. Highest common factor of x squared and x is x, so we can take a 6x outside. Okay, so what do we multiply 6x by to get 6x squared? We multiply it by x. What do we multiply 6x by to get a plus 18x? Plus 3. Okay, right, next one. So we want to express 120 as a product of prime factors. So to do that, we use prime factor trees. There's lots of different ways you could do this. So long as you get the same answer at the end. It's only one unique solution, but there's different ways we could get there. Okay, so don't worry if the way I'm doing it is not the exact same way as you're doing it. Okay, so I'm going to do 12 and 10. Neither of those are prime, so I'm going to have to split again. So we've got 3 and 4, we've got 2 and 5. 3 is prime, 4 isn't, 2 is prime, 5 is prime. 4 is 2 and 2, both of which are prime. Okay, so 120 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Now in index form, we write it as 2 cubed times 3 times 5. Okay, great. Okay, so next. Okay, so we've got a full tank holds 500 litres. The tank begins to leak water and is losing 14% of its content every hour. How much water is left in the tank after 8 hours? Okay, so we've got a depreciation question here. So if you remember, we need a multiplier for 14% decrease. Depreciation, it's getting smaller. So the water, we're losing the water, so it's getting smaller. So it's going to be 500. Now the multiplier for a 14% decrease is 100. Take away 14. So it's going to be times by 0.86. 86, okay? And how many hours? To the power of 8. Oops. To the power of 8, okay? So into your calculator. 500 times 0.86 to the power of 8. So after 8 hours, we are going to have how many? Okay, so we'll go to the nearest one decimal place again. 149.6 liters left after 8 hours. Okay. Okay, so question number 10, we've got. So question number 10, I'm going to move on to the next slide for that. Okay. Okay. Right, so we've got a scatter graph here. So we've got along the horizontal axis we've got maths, and then vertical axis we've got English. Okay, right, so we are asked to draw a line of best fit. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is draw a line of best fit. Okay, so it's going to be something like that. Might be a little bit different. There's going to be discrepancy allowed in your exam for this. Okay, so the next thing we're asked to do is find the expected value for when we've got an English mark of 65. So 65 is going to be halfway between 60 and 70, obviously. It's going to be halfway in there. Draw a line across. Draw a line straight down. And then that's looking to me somewhere around about the 47 mark, okay? So if a student scores 65 in English, we'd expect them to score somewhere around 47 in maths. Okay, so that was the final question. Hopefully you done well in that. If you have any questions on that, you can always email me any questions, okay? Thank you.